Hey, what's up? I got some more lore content for you guys. I've been getting a lot of comments about aggro decks for new players to try, aside from the one that I recommended in my 3 decks for beginners video, so I'm here to give the people what they want. And that is another aggressive beginner deck, along with 3 example games so you can see it in action. Getting right into it, this is Overwhelm. I'm currently running an extremely beginner-friendly version that has a lot of budget cards. If you have the extra resources and want to upgrade the deck, just replace Precious Pet with Crimson Pigeon, and Frostcoat Cub with Katarina, and then you're good to go. This is a solid list, but there are also cards to think about and swap in based on your preference. For example, Elixir of Wrath can be played over Elixir of Iron, and you can try to find room for Might, Pirouette, or Legion Grenadier if you want. Overwhelm as a keyword and archetype is a deck that new players tend to gravitate towards because of the combination of how powerful it is, while also being really linear and simple to play out. Basically, your Overwhelm units will deal piercing damage to the enemy nexus through blockers, and if the enemy unit gets removed during combat via something like Whirling Death, then your Overwhelm unit will attack the enemy nexus directly as if nothing had ever blocked it in the first place, rewarding aggressive board setups and big swings. And because of that, we're going to be focused on 2 primary aspects. Not only the Overwhelm keyword, but also units that grant stats. So for example, we're going to heavily prioritize Omen Hawk and also Yadulski in our opening hands. Because if you get those effects off, then your Overwhelm units will be stronger, do more damage, and be harder to deal with all at the same time. Other than the Overwhelm keyword, stat buffers, and other like generic, strong, aggressive units, we're also running Noxian Fervor and Whirling Death, which are definitely cards that you need to get used to using. Whirling Death and Fervor can both be used to gain lethals. After you initiate combat and put up like, let's say 3 or 4 units, and then the opponent puts up blockers, you can use Whirling Death to make one of your units strike one of the enemy blockers before combat finishes, which means that unit will be removed from combat and you'll get the direct attack that I was mentioning earlier. And Noxian Fervor is a direct damage lethal, which is really nice. So like let's say you just cannot win on the board, like the opponent has set up a really big HP unit and it's blocking your Overwhelm way too efficiently, well you can use Noxian Fervor, deal 3 damage to your own unit or even sacrifice it, and send that 3 direct damage straight into the enemy nexus, closing out the game that way. And that's it for the deck rundown. Now here are 3 live commentary games so you can see how the deck plays out. I'll be giving context to why I'm playing certain cards, and hopefully it gives you a good feel on how to play the deck. And for the first example game, we have a Victor Aurelian Soul control deck. So they're going to have a lot of removal, and they're going to want to play for the mid and late game. So let's see how aggressive we can get. We are attacking on odds, which is really good. We want to pretty much hard mulligan for Omen Hawk and Yadulski. So we could also keep Iron Ballista if we want, since we're attacking on odds. We could have this guaranteed for attack 3. And I will mulligan away the rest. If we already had Omen, I'd probably keep the Tusk Speaker just so that we can curve, which is play a unit on each mana cost. Especially in the early game, that's really important for this deck, but since I do not see Omen, I'm going to mulligan the Tusk Speaker. Come on, give me Omen. Yeah, let's go! We got the Omen, and we got the Tusk Speaker back, so best case scenario. Other than, like, you know, maybe Yadulski. But yeah, I will Omen on turn 1, even over the rear guard here. It is just that important to get the +1/+1 buffs as soon as possible.
Broke my hand, so I got
And we can also attack with the Omen Hawk. Bonk. That is 1 free damage. They would never block with this guy because he's a quick attack unit, so they're going to play him pretty aggressively. There we go. We got a buffed Precious Pet. That's pretty good. That allows me to play out 2 1-drops this turn. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and take that. Since it has quick attack, it would kill the Omen Hawk and not take damage back, so we don't want to block that.
Reporting in.
Do the rear guard and the Precious Pets. And then depending on what I top deck, I will make a specific play. There are a few options for us here. So we can play Iron Ballista, or we can play Tusk Speaker plus Precious, which we will do that. We're getting our hand out very efficiently. And our units have buffs. So we're going to be in a really strong spot in this early and mid game, basically putting the opponent on the back foot while we are snowballing a lead. Yeah, you can go ahead and play a lifesteal unit, that's fine. Alright, let's attack with everything, even the Omen. Right. If we do Omen, we are giving them a value trade on that Surveyor though. I think I'll hold the Omen Hawk back. Yeah, I want to force their Surveyor to die, because if we give them the option, they can keep the Surveyor alive, and get 4 healing instead of 2 over the course of the next like turn and a half, 2 turns, so don't really want to give them that option. This game is a lot about how you attack and what you attack with. Same with blocking, of course, really important part of the game. The Traveler, big 4/4. That's pretty tanky. So I'm going to set up Iron Ballista and then get ready for an open attack probably, which means first action attack for the turn before they can set up any blockers next turn, because our board is pretty strong. We are ahead, which means in order to push our lead, we will do first action attack right here. And the attack order doesn't matter, we can just full send everything. We have Sky Splitter and Gnar this turn, which is really nice. So in case they do P and Z removal here, like Mystic Shot, or if they run High Note or something like that, then we can protect our unit that's being shot, while also pushing 1 extra bit of damage, which is very cute. We're also threatening lethal pretty soon. Let's see what they got. They could have healing from Targon, they could have damage from P and Z. A lot of ways for them to stall the game and go late. Okay, Pale Cascade, and then they're going to make a Fearsome Blocker. Alright, so what I want to do is probably Sky Splitter to keep my Iron Ballista alive and push 1 damage. I think that's pretty worth. There is a world where I just let the Iron Ballista die and I hold the Sky Splitter to protect my Gnar, but Gnar's not really my win con this game.
My journey ends.
And if they have like Aftershock or something, I think they'd use it here. So our Gnar should be relatively safe. And he's also leveling since we did damage to the enemy Nexus. That's his level up condition, which makes him a really good slot in for this deck. You don't really have to play around him because the deck is more about just aggressive units with the Overwhelm keyword. But if you can get the Gnar down, I mean, that's really good because he is an aggressive unit with the Overwhelm keyword when he levels, while also granting this vulnerable, meaning I can grab it. Oh, we also have Fervor lethal. Yeah, GG. Like, it's just cooked. We played Omen, we played buff units, and we just kind of won. And for game 2, we have another slow deck. This is Anivia Karma Ramp. So they're going to be using Freljord removal and stall tactics on top of mana ramping to get ahead of us and try to stay ahead of us. However, we have Omen on 1 again, so we're going to mulligan away the Battle Fury. We always want to keep the Ancient Yeti, by the way, because of the round end discount. You can play Ancient Yeti as early as turn 4, but you can also play him cheaper afterwards, so really important to keep. We do have Frostcoat Cub, which I think I will mulligan away. This card is probably better to draw in the mid game and use as Frostcoat Mother, since you can spend the extra mana to get big Overwhelm unit, and we kind of want to get it hit by the Omen. We drew back into another one though, but that's okay, we're on multiple Omens. So we will Omen into Omen probably. Go ahead and get that 1 free damage. Also, this deck does perform just fine if you do not open Omen, Yadulski, or like if you open neither of them, you're fine. You open one, both, or neither, this deck should still be very good. Alright, multiple Omens going down. And it is more important to play my second Omen here than set up a 2-cost. Unless my 2-cost was Yadulski. Okay, triple Omen is crazy! I don't know what the odds of that are, but the opponent is probably shaking their head right now. I do think I want to get the Frostcoat Cub down, yeah. Just because it's more value right now than it will be later. I'm going to try to hit the gas, because I want to play the buffed units that I'm going to be top decking. Which means there might not be time to play this as Frostcoat Mother later. Better to get the 2 damage at a time now. Yep, go ahead, get your mana gem, heal up a little bit. Very cute. While we try to run away with the game. Yeah, so that's a 5/5 Gnar. That is massive. They do have access to Frostbite, of course, which is a natural counter to us. No matter how big we get our dudes, they can be frostbitten, which is kind of frustrating. So let's go ahead and play the Razor Mace here, because Yeti can still be discounted, and Gnar's not leveling since this is a defense turn. So it's best to get the Razor Mace and then probably do first action attack next turn while we have a very disgusting board. Portal Pioneer, sure, that could probably be used to turn off keywords. I don't think they're going to grab the Hot Cocoa to heal. They're probably going to turn off the Razor Mace Overwhelm. Yep. While blocking my Razor Mace with the Pioneer. That should be their game plan. Okay, so they're on 9 mana. I could take this much damage from them. I could take 7 and then play Gnar, right? I could do this. However, I could also play this Red Barb Razor Mace, force them to play Buried in Ice, which is a very big spell, commit to it, and then I can open attack later. I kind of want to do that. And if they don't have Buried in Ice, then I have a second Red Barb Razor Mace. But let's see. Let's see if they do. I'm not scared of Avalanche. I'm not scared of much, other than exactly Buried. Alright, let's get it. Let's get it! We are rewarded for developing the second Razor Mace and also threatening lethal. There you go, you're living with 1, and then you'll die to Ichor. You have to block the 5/5. 1/1/5/5? There you go, and then 1/3/2/3. If you'd like to block most damage. Nope, they want to kill my Omen. That's fine, they take 1 more. I guess they could be scared of Sky Splitter, because Sky Splitter would be a +1, which would have killed the Eye of the Dragon, so very good block based on the fact that I did pass exactly 2 mana. But now they have Ichor in their hands, so they're going to take damage unless they pay 3 mana to get rid of it. And they have a lifesteal unit. That is a bit annoying. Yep, pay your Ichor tax. And then the Dragonling is swinging, so I do want my board space. What I'm going to do is purposely kill off my 1/1 Omen Hawk, and then play Gnar and Ancient Yeti this turn. Let's do Yeti first. Yep, and then we'll play the buffed Gnar, not the weak one. Another big heal. Wow, they are healing like crazy. They're healing more than the Targon deck we just fought. But yeah, after this, I'm just setting up a massive open attack. There's not really a lot they can do about this. So let's attack with our quick attack unit first, because quick attack would outplay lifesteal, so it can't block there. Then we can do a 5/5 overwhelm, 5/5 overwhelm, 5/4 overwhelm, because those all do piercing damage through the Dragonling. And then we'll attack with the units that Dragonling would get most value out of over here. We can also remove something from combat, or we can do a big buff in case something gets frostbitten. So we should just be set. We have lots of options here. Lots of options and plenty of mana. More ramp, sure thing. Yep, that's it. They just don't have anything. Even if they did have like Harsh Winds in hand, we would be so fine. It's all about getting that snowball started and keeping it rolling. And for the final example game, we have a Noxus P&Z combo in Swain Seraphine. We're also attacking on evens. We want to keep the Ancient Yeti. We could also mulligan away the Battle Fury since that's a high cost card. Crosscoat Cub on 2, and not really feeling that. Same with keeping Iron Ballista, not really feeling that either since we are attacking on even number turns. So Iron Ballista loses a little bit of value. He's much better to keep when you're attacking on odds. Precious Pet on 1. We got the Ballista back. We could top deck the Yudulski, that would be awesome. Nope. Alright, so we'll just open attack here, and then float 2, which floating 2 is fine. This deck can do that pretty easily, since it runs Elixir of Iron and also Sky Splitter. We do want the extra spell mana to protect our units later, especially when we go for lethal attempts. So here we can do the Iron Ballista that we drew back into. 3 HP unit, a little bit harder to deal with. They might have to use like Aftershock. Deathray MK2 is fine. It doesn't finish off the Ballista yet. But yeah, they are going to be shooting at us a lot. They also have like Ravenous Flock, right? So they have a lot of direct damage removal. Ancient Yeti now? I think so. It's either that or I do Rearguard Precious Pet and then like a 3-cost spell. I'm kind of feeling the Yeti. Yeti. 4 mana, 5/5. Very balanced. Another Deathray MK1. Yeah, so they're going to sit back and shoot our dudes a lot. That is the P&Z way. Rear guards. Okay, well, we can get out our 1-drops. Hey, if we win this game, it's a pretty good showing of how powerful this deck can be, even without the Omen Hawk and Yudulski combo, because this hand is kind of whack. Definitely not the strongest start we could have gotten, but we'll try to make it work. What are you doing here? Deathray MK3. Sure. Regard.
Where's my axe?
And Precious Pet. And pass. They're going to draw. I'm probably going to open attack, I think. I have so much spell mana, so many spells. I'm on 9? I could play Omen, but that gives them a chance to play like a big blocker. Do I want to play Omen into a blocker? I mean, kind of, because they have a lot of fast speed options too. Yeah, okay. Because of the fact that they're Noxus PNZ and they could have a lot of removal for my open attack, I think it is fine to set up here and then get ready to play a spell. Draw more cards. Alright, and refill your spell mana, that's fine. What you got? Combination of removal spells, what are you shooting? Shooting my Yeti, probably, at the very least.
Not another step.
Yeti is getting... I gotcha. And you're getting the Death Ray. Okay, so I'll use Battle Fury to buff my Yeti. And that should be lethal. Yep, there we go. Saving the spell mana. Boom! Winning with Yeti plus Battle Fury. Yeah, that surprised them too. They were not ready for that burst damage, were they? This deck can pull out a win just out of nowhere. Even without early game Omen Yudulski, still so much pressure. And that's it for the beginner Overwhelm deck. Extra shout out to the patrons on screen. Much love and thank you for supporting. So yeah, to wrap things up, this deck is super easy to pick up and craft due to it only needing commons and rares at first, but there are potential upgrades and other inclusions to consider to either speed up the deck or slow it down. You can go all in aggro, or you can play build the board mid-range. I've also included a refined version that I'd recommend playing once you have the resources. I'll be making more videos soon, so please leave a like to support the content. I also stream on Twitch. Check me out over there for live gameplay. Thank you so much for watching and have a good one. Laters.